welcome back to the Football Quarter Podcast. I'm your host, Jeremiah Queen, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Go subscribe, hit that notification bell, click the like button, and leave a comment about your opinion on my takes. Also, if you listen to me on a podcast app like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or even Spotify, go subscribe to the podcast. And I've been trying to determine how I'm going to start this podcast off. Now that Week 16 is underway. And I guess we can start with Thursday Night Football. I'll give a quick recap. So it was Saints versus Rams. Saints need this game desperately because they're trying to win the horrible division in the NFC South, where they lost to the Los Angeles Rams, who are actually surging. They won 5 of their last 6 games. They are the equivalent of the Buffalo Bills of the AFC, who the Buffalo Bills, or no one wants to play them in the wild card round. The Rams are this team that I feel like they're going to go 9-8 or 10-7 and actually go to the playoffs. And it's a team that it's a sneaky team that can knock off a top tier contender. Like if the Rams play the Detroit Lions, there's a good chance that the Rams can beat the Detroit Lions because that's how good this team has been playing. The Rams, everybody forgets, the Rams won the Super Bowl in 2021. And then in 2022, they were rattled by so many injuries. And Sean McVay really wasn't himself because, let's be honest, in 2021, they put all their chips in. They put all their chips into getting more Von Miller, OBJ, and other key pieces in order to go on that Super Bowl run. And when you do that, you give up a lot of draft capital because they also got Matthew Stafford that year and give it up multiple first-round picks for Matthew Stafford. So the Rams actually were dealing with a big issue of not having any draft picks going to 2022. And they had so many injuries to their big players like Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, Aaron Donald. And they lost Von Miller and they lost OBJ. So the Rams they had not your typical Super Bowl champion post next season. And then you go to this year. It took them a while, but they found their identity. They got the nice running back Williams. They found a stud in the 5th round in Puka Nacua, who's going to be a Pro Bowl receiver. And I wouldn't be surprised if they decided to select him first team All-Pro because that's how good he's been playing this year as a rookie. And then Cooper Kupp's back. Aaron Donald is back. Matthew Stafford's healthy. This team is playing good football. They're 8-7. The only team they lost to in the last 6 games is the Baltimore Ravens, which most teams can't even beat the Baltimore Ravens. They only got 3 losses on the season. The Rams are legit. And then let's talk about the Saints. The Saints, they are underperforming every week I put them on television. If you watch Derek Carr, I never seen the guy get injured so much in a football game and never miss a game. Like I feel like there's been 5 games this season where he had to leave the game because of injury, and he's back next week. So I like Derek Carr because of his toughness. But the reason why they signed Derek Carr because they thought he would be easily the best quarterback in the division. And then usually you have the best quarterback, you tend to win the division. That's usually how it works in the NFL. But unfortunately, he's not playing the best quarterback in his own division. Is actually Baker Mayfield. I mean, Derek Carr had to deal with Baker Mayfield, a new guy signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Desmond Ridder, who hasn't proven himself, and a rookie first overall pick in Bryce Young. If you're the Saints, you are very disappointed in Derek Carr and this Saints team. And Dennis Allen, you're on the hot seat. I know you've been waiting a long time to get another coaching gig since the last time you coached the Raiders, and you've been a really good defensive coordinator under Sean Payton when he was the head coach of the Saints. But the difference is you had Drew Brees and Sean Payton offense to lead on and to help you if your defense wasn't playing good football. Now, their defense is not playing good football, and their offense stinks. Their offense is very vanilla. So, but the reason why Dennis Allen's not fired and Derek Carr is not out of the woods yet is because if they beat the Buccaneers in Week 17, they lead the division. So there's still a chance that the Saints have an opportunity with the last 2 games left in their season being the Buccaneers and the Falcons. If they win out and they get a little help from the Buccaneers losing and the Falcons losing, they have a chance of being NFC South champions and getting a home playoff game in 2023. Let's get started with the best games of Week 16. And the first game is going to be the Super Bowl preview in the Niners and Ravens. I'm going to take you back a little bit. Remember when Baltimore Ravens were the number 1 seed in 2019 and Lamar Jackson was MVP and they had big trust with Mark Ingram and they had RG3 and they had the Heisman backfield combination. And that team was so exciting to watch because they were the number 1 offense in the league. And then they underperformed when they got to the playoff time. Maybe they didn't deserve to have that bye week because young people need to get right back into it to keep that mojo going, and they end up getting knocked out by the Tennessee Titans in the divisional round. That same season, you forget that the 49ers were the number one seed in the NFC, and they actually played each other, and Lamar Jackson won in that matchup. Not because Lamar Jackson team was just superior, because the Niners will go to the Super Bowl and get knocked out by the Kansas City Chiefs. It's that NFC teams have a hard time playing against Lamar Jackson. I think it's one loss in 17 games against NFC teams, or maybe it's one loss in 18 games against NFC teams. NFC teams do not fare well against Lamar Jackson. This season alone, X the Rams, X the Detroit Lions, at the Seattle Seahawks. All teams thought they could beat Lamar Jackson and could not. This is why I give Lamar Jackson a little boost, because I think teams in the NFC don't really get to play Lamar Jackson that much. You don't understand how good or how dynamic or how athletic Lamar Jackson is at the quarterback position. And what makes it even more deadlier, if you watch Lamar Jackson play this season, he's not looking to run first at all. Like, he avoids open lane run opportunities to make a big throw out in the field, and this is why he's the most dangerous quarterback in the NFL right now. You can't account for that. Number one, it's going to be hard to sack him because you can't touch him. And then when you're getting close and you think he's going to run, so you have your defenders commit to coming down to go tackle him, so he won't be able to run outside the pocket. He throws lobs over your head to Isaiah Likely, Zay Flowers, OBJ, or even Rashad Bateman. And then next thing you know, you got a big play of 20 yards, 25 yards, or he's threw a touchdown over your heads. This is why Lamar Jackson is so dynamic. But let's talk about the 49ers and their MVP front-running offense and the MVP front-running running back and quarterback. Yes, both positions have a chance to be an MVP this season. Brock Purdy leads the league in every statistical category at the QB position. But what makes it so fascinating, he's top 5 in passing yards, and he's 32nd in pass attempts, which means every time Brock Purdy throws the ball, it's a bomb play. And everybody said, well, he's throwing a bunch of screens to Debo and Christian McCaffrey, and they're breaking wide open. If you watch the game, if you watch actually Brock Purdy play, he's throwing the ball down the field with efficiency. And yeah, there was a point in time when he didn't have Debo Samuels, he didn't have Trent Williams, and then lost 3 straight games. But there's a lot of teams can say that. If they don't have their star pieces, they can't function correctly like they want them to. Brock Purdy's a good quarterback. And I need everybody to stop. I need all this Brock Purdy slander to stop. This quarterback is good, and he can lead a team to the playoffs, and he can lead this team to the Super Bowl. A stat went out there, and this is totally off subject, but a stat went out there about Brock Purdy's making $870,000 this season, while the Texas quarterback, yes, the Texas Longhorn quarterback, Arch Manning, is making $2.8 million. He's underpaid, and he's playing at the MVP level that he is. The Niners have a chance of being the sole front runner, being the best team in the NFL if they knock off the Baltimore Ravens. Because I think it's the Ravens and the Niners are the 2 front-running teams in both conferences. So this is why this is a Super Bowl preview in which that you're going to be able to get on display the best of the best for both teams. You get Lamar Jackson and his dynamic waves and that defense, that top 2 defense, and then you get that top 3 defense in the 49ers. Who will come out on top? My opinion, I'm going to pick the Baltimore Ravens. NFC teams just have a hard time playing against Lamar Jackson and these Ravens. It's not a prediction. It's just facts. And then we can talk about Cowboys, Dolphins. And I see someone on CBS say it's a fraudulent bowl. Cowboys can't win from home, and the Dolphins can't beat a team that's above 500. One thing has to give. One team is going to come back to victor on Sunday. And I wouldn't be surprised if it actually is the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins are a fraudulent team as of now, but I think they're trying to find an identity of what they can do to beat a good football team. Because if they want to go where they want to go, their next 3 games, the Dolphins it goes Cowboys, Ravens, Buffalo Bills. All 3 teams will be above 500, so they have to win one of these games. It's required. And if it has to be against the Cowboys, so be it. I think the Cowboys have a lot on the line because the Eagles lost against the Seattle Seahawks, and they helped them out because now the Cowboys are number 2 seed again. The Cowboys, if they win out, if they have the opportunity of getting 2 home playoff games, and I talk about this in multiple episodes this season, about the Cowboys. If they're able to get the 2 home games, it should be an easy ride to the NFC Championship game, a game they have not played in since the 90s, before I was born, and I'm 24. So both teams had a lot on the line. It's the fraudulent rule. One team will not be considered a fraud anymore. Either it would be the Cowboys and or the Dolphins. I can't wait to see what happens in Week 16 so we can see the outcomes of these great games. Thanks for listening and watching the Football Corner podcast. If you like the content you see on this channel and you want to see more content I do outside the channel, you can follow me on my social media pages on Instagram and TikTok at the Football Corner podcast. Thanks for watching and listening. See you.